Brad Stevens is still out here making some moves. We're going to talk about what Big Brad had to say about the recent 2 draft picks in the NBA, but we're also going to talk about an Exhibit 10 deal that he just signed earlier this morning as well. Tristan Enaruna. We're going to break down who this Exhibit 10 deal player is, what is an Exhibit 10 deal, and all of that fun jazz right here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. You got your girl Allie Barefoot here. Let's find out more about Tristan. All right, so this player, he did recently come from Cleveland State, but he's actually played 5 years in college. Kansas State, 2 years there. Iowa State for 1 year. And he actually ended up transferring from KU and Iowa State for some more playing time. So I get it. That's what a lot of kids are doing right now in the portal of the NBA, the college basketball league. You got the college football league as well. And he's a Dutch forward with NBA caliber physical attributes. But before we break down a little bit more about this 6'8" guy, he's got a 7'1" wingspan. He's 220 pounds. I mean, this is a big guy coming out of college right now. But what is an Exhibit 10 deal? What does this mean for the Boston Celtics moving forward? Well, it allows UDFA's undrafted free agents to showcase their skills this summer at NBA Summer League, and more than likely, it turns into a two-way deal between the Maine Celtics and the Boston Celtics franchise. Not always, but this is where he really gets to showcase his skill set playing with the 2 recent draft picks with the Boston Celtics and other players that they want to work out here in that franchise. So what are they getting? He played 5 years in college. He definitely has some stats to show for it. And here's what he did between Kansas, between Iowa State, and between Cleveland State. 9.6 points per game. Now, his last season with Cleveland, he did actually average almost 20 points per game, but because of that small playing time at Kansas and ISU, it's going to bring that down a little bit. 6.5 boards, though. That's not bad for the wing. 49% from the field. That's all right. That can go up for sure. 26% from downtown. Meep. Not my favorite stat line, but you know what? He's 6'8". He's 220. He's obviously got different skill sets here. We're not looking for a catch and shoot type of guy at 6'8" from the wing. No, I like the way that he rebounds. I like the way that he plays defense. And reports show that he actually had other suitors as well, but he chose Boston. Surprise, surprise. He wants to play for the best team in the NBA. I don't blame the kid, but it is pretty interesting to know that a lot of other teams did want him as an UDFA here. And so overall, when I look at this kid, he's got the talent to go to a power college basketball school in Kansas. He's got the talent to then transfer to another fantastic basketball program with ISU and then end with Cleveland State. So overall, I'm just more so intrigued by this pickup from Brad Stevens. I don't know much about this kid. I've seen some highlights on Twitter. I've seen some highlights on YouTube, just like you guys might go on ahead and Google right after you watch this video. But I'm glad that he now gets to showcase his talents, going along with those 2 recent draft picks with number 30 and number 54 by the Boston Celtics, Anton Watson and Baylor Scheierman. And this is where they're all really going to be able to showcase their talents coming up NBA Summer League. And what better day to announce this than when the NBA announces their Summer League big matchups. Here is the schedule if you guys do want to follow along. On Saturday, July 13th, and yes, basketball will start back up on July 13th versus Miami, 6:30 p.m. on NBA TV, and then actually we have Boston Celtics versus Bronny James, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBA TV, Wednesday, July 17th versus the Charlotte Hornets, and Friday, July 19th, going up against the Dallas Mavericks in Summer League as we just played them in the NBA Finals. Of course, no Luka. Of course, no star players. This is all Summer League. Going to be young guys. Going to be guys coming out from the draft. All that fun stuff. But you know what? It's Boston Celtics basketball. All right, if you had to pick between these 3 guys, Watson, Scheierman, and Enaruna, which player do you want to see the most at Summer League? What do you want to see the most out of? I personally am very interested in Scheierman. I was not aware of the dog that the Boston Celtics got at number 30. And we're going to hear what Brad Stevens had to say about the draft picks and Enaruna in just a moment. Go ahead and comment that down below. But I want to make sure you guys have the freshest gear right now by going to 2024 NBA Champs and getting your gear. If you want a Boston Celtics championship shirt. This one's a little bit different. I kind of like this one too. I like the back a lot, how it's got that arch going over the Larry O'Brien trophy. It's got all the signatures right next to the Larry O'Brien trophy as well. Chatsports.com/2024 NBA Champs. It's going to get you this fantastic t-shirt. I know there's a lot of championship gear out there, but I'm telling you, this looks fly. It's got the NBA Finals logo. Like I said, you got the signatures of all the guys on the team. It's going to be vintage in the next 10, 20 years. Go on ahead, get it right now, fresh off the shelf. Celtics NBA Champs t-shirt. Go to chatsports.com/2024 NBA Champs. All right, Big Brad Stevens, he actually spoke out on the recent draft picks. He finally addressed the media and got to dig a little deeper into Big Brad's brain and why he took these two players. Let me tell you, Baylor Scheierman was not on my projected draft target for the Boston Celtics, but obviously Brad's smarter than myself. He's smarter than producer Smitty, and he's going to break down why he ended up taking him, because it's pretty interesting. The Celtics ended up drafting pretty much teenagers last year, 18, 19-year-olds. I mean, they're young guys coming out of college, which isn't unusual with the NBA from college basketball. But now this one's a little different because Anton and Baylor are 23, 24 years old. So I'm 25. I'm not calling myself old, but I'm not young. I think 18's young. So now Brad Stevens went from drafting teenagers to now drafting grown men at 23 and 24, but Brad didn't think that much of it when he made this pick, and here's what he had to say. He was like, look, you know what? First of all, I think guys are playing longer now, especially with that COVID year too. I mean, they could play for 5 years, no repercussions. So 23 and 24 is still young in the big picture of things. I think that both of those guys have shown good growth throughout the year, throughout their careers, and so you would anticipate they would just continue to grow. And I love that mindset, like we saw from Baylor. I mean, just playing for Creighton this last season, he obviously had phenomenal stat line. Same there with Anton. So I do think there is still room to get better here, and especially with kind of a young team here, the Boston Celtics. I mean, Jason Tatum just turned 26. Now you got Baylor who's about to turn 24. It kind of makes sense. But here's what Brad Stevens had to say on Scheierman and Watson. He did say, I think you're looking at what's available when you draft. In the first round, we all thought really highly of Baylor. We were excited that he dropped to 30. And in the second round, a similar thing with Anton. Those guys both are winning players. They played in a lot of big moments and a lot of big games and big environments. They know how to play on both ends of the floor, and they've been really well coached. So Brad was eyeing these two guys for a while now. The only thing he had to do was wait for pick number 30 and pick number 54. So I'm excited. I trust Brad Stevens with everything I own. And if he wants to pick Baylor and Anton, then I'm ready for Baylor and Anton. All right, go on ahead and answer this question. Should the Celtics sign any other NBA players to a two-way deal this season, an Exhibit 10 deal? There could still be some roster moves happening, so I will make sure. I'll let you guys know. I'll tweet about it as well if you want to follow me at Allie Barefoot. But comment down below. Let me know what you guys are thinking about UDFAs out there. And as always, hit that sub button for me if you want the latest on your Boston Celtics.